Hi there, it's Ron Gula from Gula Tech Adventures. Today we're continuing our VC 101 series, how to name your startup. Now, when I was at the NSA, we had computers that chose the names of programs for us. But when I worked at Tenable and now at Gula Tech Adventures, I got a great deal of exposure to startup names, product names, what I saw work and what I didn't see work. Now, there's no secret formula for how to choose your company's name and your product's name. But, there is a sea of vendors out there, and it can seem really, really daunting to pick a name that's going to make you stand out. I'm going to tell you, being a great founder, being a great leader, great communicator, and building a great product that people want, you can still screw all that up by having a poor name for your company. But usually people are screwing up those other things, and it's not the name. So don't dwell on the name. The name should be something catchy. It should be pretty cool, but don't feel like naming your company is somehow going to, create the next level of things. It's everything else you do around it that goes into that. A couple of rules though. So the first one I like to tell people is that if you're in tech, especially in cyber, your product name is your company name. So if you sell the Ron Gula piece of software, you should have a company called Ron Gula, right? People are not going to remember that your product name is XYZ and your company's name is ABC. Now, I violated this at Tenable. Tenable was Tenable Network Security. We had the Nessus Vulnerability Scanner, we had Security Center, we had the Passive Vulnerability Scanner, Log Correlation, we had Tenable IO. For a lot of customers, they just said we use Tenable, we're a Tenable shop. And I've seen this across the board with Palo Alto Networks, with CrowdStrike, with SentinelOne. There's just a lot of different companies out there that have a lot of different products, but most of the time, the product names are the actual company's names. Now, a company like Palo Alto that has acquired a lot of companies might choose to keep those brands and not sort of rebrand that. Companies like Microsoft tend to really rebrand products as, Microsoft Defender, Microsoft, product XYZ. And, there's reasons for that. But for the most part, though, if you're a startup, you really want to keep things the same to make it easy for customers to have to remember a lot of different things. The other thing you have to remember is that your customer is going to have to then go internal and sell it up their chain of command. So you can't have sort of a technical product that only technical people are going to use. It's got to be something that's going to be appealing to senior management. They're going to be, why are we writing $1 million checks for some company name they can't even pronounce, or the company name has nothing to do with what the product or project does? That actually can cause some questions for your internal champions in your company. So you want to keep things simple. You want to keep things consistent. You want to make it readily apparent what your product and company does. Now, another thing you have to do is you've come up with a name. You've got to do all the legalese. You've got to look at are there any type of copyrights on the product? Are there any type of trademarks on the product? Are you even, in a different industry? And in our industry, it's really tough because, there's a lot of companies with the word cyber in it, or risk, or security. And this can make it very, very hard to come up with a unique product name and company name, even though what these vendors are doing is something completely different. So, people always ask me, like, how hard should you search? How hard should you look into something like this? I said, you have to do something. You have to do some diligence. And this is where, if you do raise money as a startup, the venture capital firms that you're involved with can give a little bit more experience into looking at those things and what they've seen. Now, personal benefit here. First company we started was called Network Security Wizards. Second company we did was Tenable Network Security. So from an alphabetical point of view, Tenable was typically listed at the bottom of a list of companies. And, Network Security Wizards was listed about halfway up. So I'm not suggesting that you should name your company, American Automated AI Analysis Systems, right? So you can be listed first, but it does give you an advantage. So if you're looking at 3 different names and you really can't figure out the difference between them, if 1 or 2 of them is an A or a B or a C, you will at least have that advantage of being first on lists when you sponsor a conference, when you exhibit at a conference, or if you get listed in a magazine review. Now, another thing to consider is your brand. Do you want to have a domain of .com, .net, .tech? And people will actually really pay a lot more attention to this. Like right now, 2023, There's a lot of companies out there with they just chose .ai in their name. Now, the cool thing there is that you can get a noun or a word, and you can add the AI domain name suffix to that, and top level domain. And that's really interesting. But a lot of different organizations are going to have a lot of different reasons of how they want that brand to go out there. So at Tenable, we had Tenable.io, we had Tenable.com, and in the early days, we had TenableNetworkSecurity.com, which was a huge type of domain name. I went through that at Gula Tech Adventures. We used to have GulaTechAdventures.com, and then we eventually had Gula.tech. And these are just as much important for how you want to have your brand be online as it is for your product name and your official company name. Now, the last and most important thing is that whatever name you choose, you are eventually, as a founder, going to have to stand up and either tell people why you named that until you're famous, until your brand is recognized out there. Part of your intro is going to be why you chose that name. And if you can't tell a good story, if you get objections and whatever, you might actually lose valuable time pitching your product, pitching your company, pitching your vision, and you should do it. So Tenable is really simple, right? Tenable Network Security wanted obtainable and defendable network security. That's what the Tenable word means. And it's very, very common with vulnerability and compliance management and cyber exposure. And it's a pretty simple message to kind of get out there. So if you can choose a company name, you can check some of these boxes in this video, I think you're going to do fine with name that. Otherwise, don't lament too much over it, right? There's a lot of names out there. We can't all, get the names that we want, but you can make your own name and make your own name for yourself. So thanks for watching. If you would like more videos like this, subscribe to us on the Gula Tech channel here at YouTube, or visit us on LinkedIn, or check out at Gula.tech, the blog and videos we have there. Have a great day and good luck naming your company.